Hello comic fans, here's your boy, or rather your geeky geezer, Earl Grey. Cheers. I'm sitting right in front of my, what I like to call my graphic novel shelf. In fact, it's more a mixed bag of everything else. Rarer, independent, undergroundy stuff, for the most part not European. So all you Anglo-American watchers, watch out, keep your eyes peeled, because a lot of the stuff here is actually available in your fine countries over there as well. Don't know how many videos this will be, because I will take my time. So, starting with the top. So this will be a bit difficult because, like I said, there's not really a system or order to it. But let's put here the Simpsons aside. Yay! And my pet monster. Maybe let's start with the box here on top. Just a couple of risographed zines that I put in there. I guess I showed them off in my video about risographed comics. And here's an envelope straight from Japan, from Mr. Tsunori Tabaraya, with one or two of his art books. Two. Kept them both here, the spiral bound stuff that I showed off in this video about him. And yeah, thought it would be neat to keep them in that envelope. And here's another box with, let's see, yeah, S. Clay Wilson. I got an old comic book by him. And more stuff from Tsunori Tabaraya. And I guess I ordered it with color code, and there were some other graphics in that package. Oh, I already realized this video will take a while. The Checkered Demon, another comic book, this time landscape format, by S. Clay Wilson. Hoppala. It's really a due time that I will do a video about his stuff, even though the YouTube algorithm will be all over me, I'm afraid. Zap Comics number 16. This was in more trade paperback. And yeah, and here's the collection of reprints of Zap Comics that I showed off in one of my not so good videos a long time ago. I guess it received a lot of fair critique. I made some mistakes because I'm really not that expert on Zap. I really do like this underground stuff, but from over here it's a bit difficult to get everything right. Maybe I should do a second take on that video. Anyhow, pretty glad to have these reprints, because the reprints are originals. It's almost the same for me. So now to these babies here over there, and yeah, this is the box set of Hate by Peter Berg. I mean, beautiful box set with everything Hate in it. And I don't hate it, I love it. But more stuff here from Peter Berg. Maybe I should go through these. This bundle here, sweatshop about working for the comic book industry. Apocalypse Nerd. I mean, the title pretty much gives the content away. Reset, a bit sci-fi by Mr. Pete Bagg, Other Lives. And the German hate called Leck mich, which means lick me, suck, whatever. And krass, maybe translated to intense. And intense were always Peter Beck's comics for me, and yeah, I could relate sort of to his autobiographic-ish Buddy Bradley stories here. And so yeah, I try to sell my English trade paperbacks, because now I have this fine box over there, but the German translations I keep, because sometimes I'm not always sure what Mr. Bagg really meant, so it's neat to compare it with the German translation. And here another box set with stuff from Peter Bagg. Neat stuff. Wonderfully made box here. And yeah, this was the predecessor of Hate. I have to put that later on back there. And oh, here's my box of shame, because yeah, Eddie Campbell, you should know him. That's the artist behind From Hell, that was written by Alan Moore. But I was a bit afraid that this box set, here's his face, at least the half of it, maybe so. Yeah, he has a much bigger head than me, and yeah, I read a part of Alec, his autobio stuff. Very intense read, very, let's say, it's John Porcellino in a realistic way, as touching as John Porcellino's comics, wittier, maybe, not better, but on the same level. It's, yeah, you can't actually compare it with John Porcellino, but hey, I tried it. And then we come here, this is a shelf with more classic underground material. Comic Sisters, I don't know why I keep this watch here. Oh, you don't see it? There's a pretty ugly watch, even not working anymore. Let's put it away. Or maybe a battery in, then it works. But now we come to Comic Sisters, which is an anthology with female underground artists. It was put out by a German publisher, I would say Reprodukt. No, Elefantenpress. Never heard of them actually, or cared for them too much, but yeah. Phoebe Glöckner and Julie Doucet, of course, Mary Fleener, Aline Kominsky-Crumb, Carol Tyler, Diane Newman, you name it, you get it. It's really a who is who of all the great female underground creators. Next in line is Mr. S. Clay Wilson, and I mean, our world can't be so bad if we have a thing like this, 3 beautiful hardcovers with yeah, a biography with lots of illustrations from this very extreme undergroundy, extreme not mainstream guy, even though his signature out there-ness, extremeness made him almost some corporate guy, corporate evil of the underground, even though I think he was a very nice guy and original guy and a good guy to be around with. But he couldn't, he was the man who squeezed the most genitals in each panel, for sure. So, and I guess my interest for him was ignited years ago with this German comix anthology, one of these Sonderbände. I have a lot of them more down below. All this yellow stuff here. But I guess the one that I cherish the most is this one here, with comics by S. Clay Wilson. Printed on a very fitting, cheap yellowish paper, but it's all there. Yes. Okay, can't see anything what I'm doing. So now here, and a bit smaller version here, or smaller collection, the collected Checkered Demon, Volume 1. Don't know if Volume 2 exists. By the way, this is the cover of this comic book that I've shown you before in real volume. And Tornado LA is, yeah, it's obviously Japanese, I guess. Printing. Is it Chinese? Honestly, I don't know. Of lyrics by William S. Burroughs, and yeah, Tornado LA, but the cover illustration is by S. Clay Wilson. So don't ask me why I had to get this book here, but I got it. Same with this book here. Spots, and it's actually a collection of, yeah, the most perverted stuff that he draw. No, not the most perverted, but of the usual stuff for him that he did. And a bigger hardcover, the art of S. Clay Wilson. The more I look into the stuff here, I wonder why I haven't done a video about this book sooner. I should do, but yeah, even though they may age restrict the video. Trots and Bonnie looks pretty innocent, but it's not innocent at all. One of my favorite books of last year, or the year before, I don't know. Pretty innocent looking stuff, but very, yeah, a lot of coming of age stories that don't shy away from anything. Wait, I hope you don't get sick. But here we go. And yeah, Sherry Flanagan was a predecessor of Julie Doucet in lots of ways, so I found it logical to put my German Julie Doucet books right there, and of course the slipcase edition of Dirty Plot, complete by Drawn and Quarterly. I've shown this in a recent video, so if you want to check out this, go for it. Inner City Romance. Comickkrakk did a while ago a pretty good look into this book here and talked about it, and I guess it was for me the reason to finally get this book. Then we have Robert Crumb, some stuff. The most of Robert Crumb stuff that I have are his sketchbooks, and I keep them, let's see, yeah, over there. So, but here we have, yeah, here we have Yum Yum. He was in love and wanted to impress his girl of the time, I guess, who became his later first wife. And so seems the plan succeeded. For this comic, he wanted to impress her. And Bob and Harv's American Splendor with Harvey Pekar. And a random, yeah, I don't know. I guess these books were around. This is a long-lasting series of reproductions of Crumb comics. I was never too fond either of the paper or this softcover edition here, and I actually hope that they will do more decent edition of Crumb's comics in the future. I mean, he would deserve this. I know he's a controversial figure, for sure, but yeah. I mean, you can compare it with two German editions. Here, this is Endzeit Comics, a collection of his stuff, translated into German, of course. And same with Ein Heldenleben. And they did a softcover collection by the big publisher Carlsen Verlag, which is an interesting match because they are the ones who publish comics for children. I mean, a lot of these comics and for children, and not so much comics for adults, but here they went out of their way to produce some more material that is aimed more at adults or teenagers, like I was at the day when I bought that. So let's see, yeah, let's continue with the next shelf here. Here I have some books by Jim Woodring, The Portable Frank. He's a very unique cartoonist. I'm not so fond of his art and stuff like many others are, but I appreciate his stuff, and he's a very idiosyncratic and unique artist for sure. And this I got as a freebie with some order from Waltz Comics. Just to mention that. And here we have Jim. And in one of the chats with Terence and with Sleepy Reader and comickkrakk, Sleepy Reader showed this. Maybe you can find it in one of the old floating chats. So here we have some Jim and Frank floppies and stuff. Next in line is my Ted McKeever section, the superannuated man, metaphor. Hey, metaphor. I guess I never got it. Okay, Mondo and Miniature Jesus, Toxic Gumbo, which he did with the amazing Lydia Lunch, Eddy Current. It was a 3-part collection here. War of the Worlds, written by Steve Niles, illustrated the Ted McKeever style, and Plastic Forks. He left the cartooning business not for good, but with a big middle finger, which was his last series, which I don't own, because it was more or less, I guess, big middle finger. We told you so! Maybe you can call this big tome a big middle finger as well, but a very productive and one. And our guy Gary Groth right there in front, and his comrades in arms. And I mean, I can't say that I have read the whole tome here, but I read quite a bit, and every time something Fantagraphics related comes up, or often when something Fantagraphics related comes up, I grab this tome and try to get some extra information out of it. Maybe they shouldn't have gone for the huge tome here, but this is some kind of symbol of their achievement, and they're proud of it, what they managed. And so far there's almost no publisher, I guess, like Fantagraphics in the world. So for me, it's very overdue that I celebrate Fantagraphics, because they are so important. I mean, Love and Rockets maybe would have never existed without Gary Groth. The most influential publisher in terms of comics for me as a teenager was 2001 over here in Germany. They run lots of shops in which they sold their own books and LPs and a lot of other stuff that you couldn't get anywhere else. Like these books from Gilbert Shelton, were the Freak Brothers, and it's a flip book. On the backside you have Wonder Warthog. And in case you wonder how he translates into German, it's Wunderwarzenschwein. Would be a good channel here, the name for this here. Even Wunderwarzenschwein, maybe a bit cheesy. Fat Freddy's Cat. And more Gilbert Shelton, the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers in German. And more Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers in one of my glued together slipcovers here. Next book in line is one of these highly detailed, very dense biographies by Patrick Rosenkrantz. This one about this fascinating, really wonderful and extremely out there cartoonist Ran Holmes. In my mind, he is one of the most underrated. I mean, he's well known, but he should be even more well known. But he's really not mainstream at all, and goes to town with all his obsessions. And so, and this is I mean, I'm not a Rand Holm expert at all, but I feel this is a very good and, if not exhausting, overview about his work. Talking about overview, Lost and Found is a collection of Bill Griffiths' other stuff, so to speak. Since 1969 he publishes comics, and this huge tome collects a lot of the stuff here. Somewhere there's a bit zippy in it, but for the most part it's not zippy. And I have zippy cartoons, 2 shelves below. This is a German edition, Wahnsinn und Feinsinn, the collected editions of Bill Griffith, by that publisher 2001. So they were really important in terms of publishing bringing the underground stuff to Europe. And the only reason why I put this 2 shelves below is that it didn't fit into this shelf here. And now a bit of an extreme jump in terms of style and maybe even content. Adrian Tomina. These books here are all by him. Let's see, here is his most recent, The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Cartoonist, a little book about that he gave away to the guests of his marriage, or their marriage with his wife, of course. Killing and Dying, fantastic collection of stories. A box with his the Optic Nerve mini comics that he did. And Halbe Wahrheiten. Shortcomings is the English title. I forgot this. So let's put this back here. A lot of the books in my collection are just there because of recommendations by other YouTubers and so on. So they're always highly appreciated because I can't figure out all the stuff here for myself. So fantastic. This shelf is a good example because all of these books are just there because of the recommendation of some YouTuber. Like Comix 2000 was recommended by one fellow German YouTuber called Crouch. I don't know if his channel is still up. He did his reviews in really perfect English, at least compared to my English. And this is almost an encyclopedia to celebrate the millennium by different cartoonists, assorted in alphabetical order. Here, silent comics, black and white, so totally up my alley. Anarchy comics, I don't know, I think it feels somehow comickkrakk related. Maybe he showed some of the floppies of this stuff here, and I saw at some day this collection here and grabbed it. Enigma, I possibly feel it was somehow on the Cartoon Kayfabe channel. Maybe I'm mistaken. The next one here is Così by one Alex Baladi, and this is a very recent addition to my collection, all because of Sitrat, aka John Angelo, who did a series about this cartoonist. And I found the videos very intriguing and the art very intriguing, and this pretty abstract, complex, or new, idiosyncratic way of storytelling very intriguing. And for the next section here, I blame totally for the love of comics that I had to buy these books here, because otherwise maybe I haven't figured out what a wonderful cartoonist Richard Sala was, and yeah, I would have saved a lot of money, but this is really one of the best ways to spend your money. Buy some books by Richard Sala. I did a video about these books, so maybe you check this out, or check out For the Love of Comics video, because this was a very amazing and yeah, a thorough thinking about what Richard Sala meant to him, yeah, because of his passing. So it was a sad occasion, but the video was very great and convincing, as you can see here. So, in case you have time, we go a shelf deeper. Let's close today's video with this shelf here, and then I will still have enough books to talk about in 2, 3 or 4 more videos about my graphic novel section here in my collection. From left to right, we have The Real Deal, put out by Fantagraphics, a very shiny, colorful book with, I guess, the first Afro-American underground cartoonists presented very cliché, very violent, misogynistic stuff there. I mean, it was sometimes a bit hard to read this here, and I'm not as much over it as others like the kayfabe guys. I mean, you can really read it in small chunks, and if I read more of the stuff, then I'm a bit annoyed. But anyhow, it's very extreme and therefore sort of interesting. So maybe this is here my section with the extreme and interesting stuff here. But these Angry Youth Comics, a wonderful tome, pretty deceiving title, but here you can see these little penises, penis ornament, and this is not by accident, of course, if you know Johnny Ryan's stuff, always aiming to provoke under any kind of niveau, and it's the most lowest brow comic. These are the most lowest brow comics that you can imagine, and yeah, same with these two, a new low, and yeah, this title here is a bit unfortunate, but anyhow, I got it nevertheless. Nice anthology with Grant Abel in it, and Benjamin Mara and others. Talked about it in one panellogy before. Can't remember which, but if you like what you're seeing right there, look if you can find a copy of I Feel Love by which publisher was it? Self-Made Hero. Then there's Billy Griffith's book that I've shown you before. Here, book that was very important to me. When I studied biology, this is no joke, we students exchanged copies, black and white Xerox copies of this comic here, because A, they were really funny, and B, they were really not as far from the truth as you would think. It starts with the Big Bang and goes through the evolution of the species here in a very fun and educative and highly enjoyable manner. Drawn by Larry Gonick, and he did this for the cultural evolution, the evolution of mankind as well, in a second collection here. I don't know how these stories here are reproduced in their English originals, but they are for sure there. And here's a bit similar book about the American Revolution. So what's this? This is my recent edition here, thanks to Domino Books and Austin English, by Casanova Frankenstein, Ted Martin, issue 7. And here, put this side aside because it's for me from the same source, Mr. Incompleto by Josh Bayer. And then we have a pretty substantial collection of Daniel Klaus stuff. Yeah, let's go quickly through these, because even though I say it forever now, but I will do videos about the Death Ray and Ghost World. All this other stuff that is included here. Echo Avenue, Summer Blonde, David Boring. Yeah, this was something that I guess the Comic Kayfabes showed this. It includes some early Daniel Klaus right there. So, yeah, and I looked for a cheap copy of this here and got it, and I'm pretty glad, because when you know it, of course, it's Daniel Klaus. Look at these drawings here. I mean, the story and strike itself is pretty forgettable, but anyhow. And yeah, I mean, this is Daniel Klaus. Every book here is highly recommended. As his most recent book, Patience, caricature, assortment of mini stories from his 8-ball comic book issue series, in which almost all of his stories were firstly published Pussy, and the German edition of Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. This is called in German Wie ein samtener Handschuh in eisernen Fesseln. One of the weirdest stories ever. I did already a video about this one here, but otherwise I'm totally shamefully behind covering here this section. And Daniel Klaus comics are highly, highly important for me. As it is, quite frankly, this guy here, Jeff Darrow. And here you see an older softcover edition by Dark Horse of Hardboiled, written by Frank Miller, and a pulp novel, sort of the Shaolin Cowboy, the Shaolin Cowboy Adventure magazine. And this is no comic, but it mimics these pulp novels and has a text that I honestly haven't read. Bought it more or less just for, yeah, the goofy design as a whole and the illustrations by Jeff Darrow. Apropos illustrations, I have the Lead Poisoning, this art book, fantastic book. But it is somewhere else together with other art books. Here I have the comics, but when you're talking Jeff Darrow, it's always actually an art book to me as well. And I mean, what I'm talking, each and every comic is an art book. But this series is fantastically made by Dark Horse with these cloth spines and hardcover and very well made all over. I mean, I can't... Oh, yeah! Killing my books in front of the cam. Another trope here on my channel. I can't go into details here about these books, but let's show you these real quick. This is now not dust, this is bleached out by sunlight. Somewhere I have stored them in a not so good place. No. Shaolin Cowboy, Star Trek. I did one or two videos about Jeff Darrow, but it's due time to come back to his stuff. I mean, look at Big Guy, the Rusty and the Rusty Robot. Rusty the Boy Robot. And this is just amazing stuff. And no books that you or I can review in passing here. I mean, everything that I can do right now is look at this stuff here. I mean, Jeff Darrow really plays in a league of its own, at least in terms of details and fun that you can create with details. So, yeah. Here's the stuff that will await you in the next videos. Goodbye.